Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chrissy Don One, and I am back with another video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Since you're already subscribed, you might as well hit that notification bell so it'll let you know when my next live stream or video goes down. The super chat feature is now enabled, so if you want to donate to a brother, a donation or two will be helpful, okay? But you don't have to. Enjoy this free entertainment. So we're about to get into today's story. It's about Cleveland Cavaliers, their new additions, and we're not talking about Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, not the R&B legend group new addition. We're talking about the new additions of the Cleveland Cavalier players. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are on a 2-game winning streak. They beat the Atlanta Hawks. But in theory, they're supposed to beat the Atlanta Hawks, even with Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose. You would think that team is capable of beating the Atlanta Hawks, but they lost to the Atlanta Hawks. And they also beat last night the Boston Celtics. They beat down the Beantown team. All right, they really shown themselves that day. Last night. The Boston Celtics, for about 2 weeks, they've been struggling. All right, and that's largely they've been playing better competition. They also been gone on the road. I feel like with those two reasonings, that's why the Boston Celtics are barely winning games, okay? But they lost in a blowout to the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of people are pointing to this game saying, well, you know, the Cleveland Cavaliers are back, right? With all these additions and these trades, Kobe, the GM at the with the Cleveland Cavaliers, as well as Dan Gilbert, as well as even LeBron James. Even LeBron James gets some credit with most of these moves. And like I said, when we talked about these moves, it makes the Cleveland Cavaliers a lot younger, a lot athletic, a lot longer in length. They can be able to trap the player and the ball. The ball movement on the opposing team isn't as crisp and fluid as it once was a couple of weeks ago, because you had older veteran players, all right, and one-dimensional players. Isaiah Thomas, the only thing he was good at was scoring points, but if you take that away from the equation, Isaiah Thomas was an undermanned guard that can do nothing else. Same could be said for Derrick Rose, even Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade, he's a lot older. You know, clearly, if they would have gotten to Dwayne Wade from when LeBron James went to Miami to form the Big Three, I think that Dwayne Wade would have been very beneficial to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And there's reports out there that suggest that, Jay Crowder wasn't the only person that was, basically voicing his opinion about certain players. And by doing that, it kind of, sent the wrong message and the wrong vibe to the other players out there. It was even Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade was doing this even with the Chicago Bulls, okay? And his last stint with the Miami Heat. Now he's back with the Miami Heat. First he was very vocal about becoming a backup, playing off the bench. He said he didn't want to do that with the Miami Heat. That's why he went to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls showed him love, and love meaning money. And he went there for the money. And turns out that the Miami Heat organization was right about Dwayne Wade. Coming off the bench and reducing your role as well as your salary will be very beneficial to the Miami Heat and to Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade accepted a buyout, went to Cleveland, and the rest is history. All right, but this is not about Dwayne Wade. This is more so about the new additions that the Cleveland Cavaliers got, and a lot of people are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're getting caught up in the hype. Yes, the Cleveland Cavaliers won 2 games, but we have to, if you peel back the layers of these 2 games, they played a team which the Atlanta Hawks, what they're supposed to be, even with their old roster, and the Atlanta Hawks are not going anywhere. They're trying to make a big splash in the NBA draft, and the Boston Celtics, who have been struggling for the past couple of games due to their schedule. All right, I think the schedule plays a part, and they're playing better opponents. You know, you just can't bring it night after night when you have back-to-back, opponents that you have to step up and throw your A game out. And I feel like a lot of people are forgetting the fact that Gordon Hayward is injured for the year, and the fact that the Boston Celtics can be number 1 in the East, or number 1 in their division, and still, even without Gordon Hayward, that's a huge accomplishment to the players of the Boston Celtics, as well as Brad Stevenson. All right, truth be known, when Gordon Hayward went down, a lot of a lot of NBA analysts, well, Fox and ESPN, were stating the following: "Oh well, the Boston Celtics are not going anywhere. This, that, and the third." All right, so it's a very huge accomplishment that they got the record that they have. All right, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, a lot of people are getting getting gold fever of the 2 games. Now, one of those games, Atlanta Hawks, they didn't even those new players were not even playing in that game. They played in last night's game. Now, the Boston Celtics, let's just face facts and face reality. This is a new team. This is a new dynamic. All right. It wasn't like they had any tape on all of these players playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, because this was their first game. But a lot of people feel like, well, the Cleveland Cavaliers are back in the East. They can dominate the East. And I'm pretty much the only one out there that's stating the following: even though these trades will benefit the team, the long-term goal is, well, if you look at it at a long-term perspective, they're still not going to beat the Golden State Warriors, even with that roster. It's more athletic, it's more hungry, the hustle points are going to go up. They're going to do the little things that the other players that were on the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't want to do, all right, like defend, perimeter defense, chemistry. But they only got technically 20 some odd games to get all the chemistry part down. Now, LeBron James is barking out orders, telling players where they need to be, and these younger players are accustomed to that type of language. All right, so they're not going to be upset at LeBron James barking at them during the game. This isn't going to get old to them, because they're also learning on the fly too. And what I constantly say about NBA basketball is different from the NFL and pro baseball or anything else professional. You have to have chemistry. With chemistry on a team will benefit a team a lot more than acquiring talented players with no chemistry. All right, chemistry plays a huge part in professional basketball. All right, that's why the chemistry is a lot better than the Cleveland Cavaliers' old roster. But at the end of the day, they still not going to be. Nothing has changed, okay, other than the names on the back of the shirts and the number and then the jersey numbers. Nothing really hasn't changed from the perspective of the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you're looking at it as a competition type of factor, they're not going to beat the Golden State Warriors. They're gonna struggle if the San Antonio Spurs are in the finals, and there's a huge chance that the Spurs can still beat them. All right, so they can't beat the top the top 5 teams in the West. Like I said in other live streams and in other videos, it's going to be rough for them in the East. Even though I stated in a lot of videos, at the end of the day, in a series, I give the nod slightly to Cleveland because the pressure is really going to be on the opposing team to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 7-game series. The pressure is going to be on them, not so much LeBron James, because he's been there, done that. And now with this new crop of players, we have to see how they work when the pressure gets tight, like, you know, like making a diamond. All right. But they're not asking these players to do a lot. And in fact, the majority of these players are going to come off the bench. All right. So Jeff Green and Kyle Korver, they're going to get a lot of starting time, okay, and a lot of starting minutes. And since they're so familiar with LeBron James, that doesn't change the dynamics from the starting lineup point of view. All right, and they're going to place these players in key moments. You know, they're not going to put all these players in when it matters the most, when the pressure is at its highest, okay? Because then that's when, you know, you're gonna see these players probably struggle under that type of light and that type of setting, all right? But like I said, even with their older roster and how bad they played and performed defense, when you get to the playoffs, how you play in the regular season is different on how you're gonna play in the postseason. The regular season, you have to defend the full court. The postseason, you defend the half court. All right, things start slowing down. All right, and I feel like those East teams, even though they're better, Toronto, Boston, the Bucks, they're better, heads and shoulders better. But I feel like those teams, what you're asking those teams to do is literally they're going to have to defend LeBron and company and beat them in a 7-game series, and that's where the problems are going to arise and occur with those those teams. All right. But still, nothing has changed from a competition standpoint, because they're going to struggle a little bit even with the teams in the East, and they're going to have real problems, matchup problems, lineup problems against the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I know somebody's going to say, well, Chris, you say they're more athletic, you say they hustle more, the perimeter defense is going to be stepped up, okay? But do you honestly think Rodney Hood can defend Kevin Durant, excuse me? I only think he can defend Kevin Garnett, but that's neither here nor there. Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Are you telling me those new additions can hold either of those players back? And the answer is no. LeBron has a hard time matching up with Kevin Durant. So clearly he's still going to have to match up with, he's going to have to defend Kevin Durant. That's why they wanted Jay Crowder, because if Jay Crowder was still on the team and if he was producing his matchup in the finals, he will probably have to defend Kevin Durant. And since he's not utilizing his energy on the offensive end, he's mainly going to use all of his energy just running around and following Kevin Durant. So that frees up LeBron to either defend Draymond Green, which has a better matchup for LeBron, because Draymond Green is not going to, he's technically an ISO player, but he's really not in the system of the Golden State Warriors, if you understand what I'm saying. So that would be a better matchup for LeBron James instead of trying to keep up with Steph Curry. Steph Curry's too fast, or Klay Thompson. even though LeBron James is a little taller than Klay Thompson, still just moving around with Klay Thompson, that's tiresome enough. Okay, that's when you had the Jay Crowder factor. Now, since he's not in the factor or in the discussion no more, then you have to look at what's remaining on your roster that can, defend Kevin Durant. And to be honestly truthful about it, they don't have anyone on their roster. Okay. Which means that LeBron is probably going to have to man up the Durantula. Okay. So, I'm not believing into this hype yet, and you just can't judge after 2 games. Are they back in the East? They're clearly better than the current version that they was running in October. Yes, it's better talent wise, chemistry wise, IQ wise, like LeBron James said, and it's not an ego type of group. It's not a bunch of I guys. It's we. Jordan Clarkson is really going to help the Cleveland Cavaliers. Rodney Hood is going to help the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, so those additions, plus the additions that they already signed this offseason, is going to benefit the Cleveland Cavaliers. The problem is, has anything changed on a competition level? Are they light years better than the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs? No. Are they? But the argument is still the same. Even in the East, the Eastern Conference teams, they're going to probably in a series when it gets into playoff mode. Those Eastern Conference teams, the pressure is going to be on them to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in a series, and that's where the problem is probably going to arrive. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please hit the notification button, the notification bell, so it'll let you know when my next live stream or video goes down. It's your boy, I'm Chris the Don One, and I am out. See y'all.